Thank you for tuning in. My name's Lewis Foster, and for the next half hour I'm going to be exploring the opportunities for young people on the Isle of Man to get involved in music and find out a bit more about what goes into extracurricular activities from those who run the services and from those who are active participants. Earlier this month in the UK, the government invited experts from the music industry to help shape the future of music education. It comes at a time when some accuse the education policy there of deliberately squeezing the creativity out of our children's learning. Well, back in January on Manx Radio's Manning Line, we discussed the topic of entertainment. It garnered a lot of attention, with many people lamenting the good old days when you went out and sorted your own entertainment. Some even accused today's generation of expecting entertainment on a plate. This comment in particular caught my attention.
Joan dropped a note in just to say in those days, more people played musical instruments. True, isn't it? More people probably did play musical instruments.
As someone who is relatively new to the island, I had no basis to argue against the caller. So that afternoon I sent an email to a number of schools and people I was told would be able to provide a better insight. I had an email from one school which gave an overview of what they have in place as part of the curriculum there. It says all students in Year 7, Year 8 and Year 9 have a 50-minute music lesson each week, where they learn about music from around the world, Manx folk music, reggae, samba, film music and classical, and they concentrate on using keyboard, ukulele, as well as percussion and sometimes bass guitar and drums. Music is an option for students as they move into Key Stage 4 and at Post-16 A-level. Outside of schools, they have a number of choirs and vocal groups that students participate in. This is in addition to school productions that also have a music aspect. They also run a few clubs, for example, the Keyboard Club. Their head of music visits their partner primary school during the year to work with students in Year 5 and Year 6, which culminates in a transition concert, where Year 6 students perform alongside other students from all year groups. With respect to learning musical instruments, they rely centrally upon the music service, whose teachers come out to schools to deliver lessons, and the school allows students to leave their timetabled classes to go to their music lesson. With this fresh insight, I decided to speak to two people who I was told had a lifetime of knowledge on the matter. Maurice Powell, musical director of the Isle of Man Symphony Orchestra and presenter of Manx Radio's classical programme A Little Light Music, and former Castle Russian head teacher Andrew Cole, who's heavily involved in music today. Mr. Powell and Mr. Cole gave an overview of everything that is currently available, the island's history of music, and explained why one section in particular is prominent on the island.
Currently, the island has three sort of angles on music tuition, I would say. One is through the music service, and the music service is part of the Department for Education, Sport and Children, headed by Maggie Richardson. They employ a number of peripatetic teachers and cover tuition in strings, brass, woodwind, percussion, guitar, a little bit of singing, not so much these days. They don't cover keyboards, which is an interesting one. There is a Manx Youth Orchestra subdivided into several subgroups, smaller ensembles, such as the Wind Band and the Swing Band. In addition to that, there's a lot of private music tuition on the island, I'm sure, and that covers the instruments I've already mentioned, including keyboards, but also things like drum kits and guitars and bass guitars, saxophone, that kind of thing. There is some overlap between the two because the Department of Education also funds, or partially funds, through the youth service, something called Sound Check, which is a turn-up and play type of initiative. I think it's based at largely at Kensington Road Youth Arts Centre, but there are bases around the island as well where young people can meet to make music and compose things as well. They have a certain amount of technological backup for that, I think. Brass is very big on the island. There are lots of brass bands, and many of them have feeder bands, such as Neptune Nippers for Ramsey Town Band. So that's a very big and popular aspect to music making.
They are involved in teaching as well, because part of the brass band tradition has always been that young players would come in, they were given an instrument, sometimes a really old batter one that's been in the band room for years, but nevertheless, and one of the older players would help young players along, tell them how to blow, show them the fingerings for the different notes, and they sit in and learn. That's the way I first learned to play a brass instrument years ago, was by being in a local band and basically watching what everybody else did. And you may say, oh, well, that can't possibly be much of an influence, but in fact it is. It's a very long going tradition, and a lot of very good brass players come up and spend all their time in the brass band movement. It's very, very strong on the island, as Andrew was saying. Most bands in their band room probably have a cupboard, and if you open it, a load of old instruments will fall out. Some of them obviously in a sorry state. But, bands are always raising funds through their concerts and things to buy new instruments. They are kind of self-supporting in a way. I did look into the history of bands here, going back donkey's years at one time, but never sort of thought to explore it fully. But Douglas Town Band goes back to the 1880s. Ramsey Town Band goes back to the 1890s, and they've all had mixed fortunes. They've come and gone, but the basic principle of banding, which, if you like, maybe started in the northwest of England in the industrial factories, the mills, the towns. The same thing was transplanted here and has been very successful. But the thing is, a brass band is not just a collection of musicians; it's their families as well, and that's how the tuition kind of works. It's very effective. There's no doubt about it.
It was clear to me by this stage that schools were doing more than their fair share of promoting music to its students, but the question was still lingering. Is today's generation proactive? Are they interested in being involved in extracurricular activities? To help answer this question, I spoke with Maggie Richardson, head of the island's music service, who invited me down to one of the Manx Youth Orchestra's Saturday morning rehearsals. So we're here today, Saturday morning. Could you just tell us a bit about what's going on today?
Yes, it's one of our regular Saturday morning rehearsals of all the different ensembles that meet under the umbrella of the Manx Youth Orchestra. So we meet every Saturday during term time and have been doing for nearly 50 years.
And what sort of age groups are we seeing today, and how many people are here?
Well, we usually have about 250, and the youngest are Year 5 students and the oldest are upper 6ths.
And how many groups are going to be practicing today?
We have 5 groups in the first half, and then we have a break with a very important tuck shop, and then after break we go down to 4 groups.
Could you explain a little bit what those groups are and how they split up? You mentioned there was an ensemble and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have different groups. Children can join as soon as they've reached about grade 1 standard on their instrument, and so we have different groups that provide different music for people of those different levels of playing. So from almost beginner right up to very advanced players are playing in different groups together.
Do you get kids from all around the island?
Yes, they come from all over the island. They represent every secondary school and quite a lot of the primary schools every Saturday. And they're bussed in from all the far reaches of the island, as well as coming under their own steam as well.
And how popular does this prove with the kids that come here? Do you see a lot of people coming back again and again? And is it a growing community?
Well, they tend to, once they've joined, they can be in it from when they're in Year 5 to the day they leave school at Year 13, and progress through from the more junior groups up to the very senior groups, and they're very, very committed. So we've got very, very engaged and enthusiastic students coming every Saturday, but because they're engaged and enthusiastic in music, they're also engaged and enthusiastic in lots of other walks of life and contribute to all sorts of aspects of the Isle of Man community, including sport or school shows. So, for example, we have a few missing today because they're taking part in rehearsals for their forthcoming school show. Duke of Edinburgh. We have various other activities that take children, mean that children can't always be here, but commitment is very, very high.
So you think extracurricular activities on the island are very strong at the moment?
I think they really are. I think they always have been, and our children are very fortunate with the opportunities that they're given.
So what's your name?
Kelly Domingo.
And what band are you playing?
The violins.
And do you enjoy it? How long have you been doing it for?
Since I was in year 5, which was when I was like 10.
How did you get involved in it? Was it something you wanted to do?
Well, I was gonna do like piano because I like playing piano, but then I realised at my school we couldn't play piano. So then instead I played violin, and then I just played violin.
Do you think piano is something you'll pick up eventually, or are you happy with a violin?
I do piano as well, but I've got my grade 1 for both of them. Yeah, violin and piano.
Okay, fantastic. And do you like this service?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anything you don't like about it?
That Coke is 60p. I want it to be 50.
Hi mate, what's your name?
I'm Giles.
And what do you play?
I play percussion.
Okay, in which group?
I play in the senior wind and the Manx Youth Orchestra.
Are you involved in anything outside of the music service?
I go to soundcheck every so often, which is mainly more based around rock kind of things and sort of pop, modern kind of music. But both I enjoy just as much.
How long have you been involved in the music service?
I think it's been 5 or 6 years. I'm not quite sure, but I have worked my way up through the ranks gradually.
So do you do grades in your percussion?
Yes, I do, but I started that after I joined here, really, because before I started doing grades, I just did it, just drums and just sort of casual beats and that kind of thing, which a lot of people do, but I did hear that to get up to the youth orchestra, I would have to get to grade 2, so then I started doing the grades, so then I could get up to there.
And was the music service supportive in getting you to improve your talents, that kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Like I have had some issues in the past because sometimes things just didn't fall into place for me, and it was a bit unfortunate, but they were very supportive in what they did, and they did help out in any way they could.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Hannah Kermood.
And what do you play?
I play clarinet and sax and piano.
In which group?
I play clarinet in wind orchestra and clarinet in senior orchestra, and then sax in jazz orchestra.
Okay, so you've got a lot of instruments to balance. How do you balance all those?
Well, I just integrated them gradually. So I started on piano, then I brought in clarinet, and then recently sax. So it's just how it is, really.
How have you been taught all those instruments? Is it through teachers coming into the schools, or do you get private tutor as well?
For piano, I do that outside of school. And then clarinet, I started in school, in primary school. And then sax, I do outside of school as well.
And what's your favourite thing about this service?
I just like being able to play in an orchestra, like that environment, being able to play all the pieces with everybody, and just the vibe is good.
And what do you hope to do next?
I hope to just continue playing like this and take music further in my life.
What's your name?
I'm Kieran Kerr.
And what do you play? What band?
I am in the Junior Wind Orchestra and I play the trumpet.
Okay, how long have you been in for?
2 years, I think.
2 years. And are you working towards grades? Have you done any grades?
I am working towards my grade 3 at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, and do you like it here?
Yes, very much.
Have you made many friends here? Is there a good sense of community?
Yeah. Yeah, I made quite a lot.
What's your favourite part about it?
The fact that I get to play my trumpet openly and with other people.
Okay, and do you learn the trumpet in school?
Yes, I do.
And is your teacher the same person who runs your group?
Yes, he doesn't help my group, but he's in the senior orchestra. So yeah.
Okay, and what do you hope to do in the future? Are you going to carry on with the trumpet?
Yes.
Move on to the other bands?
Yes. I really wanted to join the jazz orchestra just because they play really fun pieces.
Manx Youth Orchestra has been going for nearly 50 years, and people are lifelong friends who are now sending their own children to Manx Youth Orchestra rehearsals now, and they still talk about when they went on tour or strawberry shoelaces at Tuck Shop. So it is a thing that goes through generations now on the island.
And you say it's good to see confidence growing?
Absolutely. It's not just about the music. It's about friendship. It's about learning about other people and how to work with others. But seeing how they grow in confidence as they learn a bit more about how to play their instrument, but fitting it in a group, but also learning about other people. It really does build up their skills on that level as well.
I left the Manx Youth Orchestra rehearsals feeling heartened by how many kids were involved with the music service, and to be able to see how beneficial the community was not only to their talents and skills as musicians, but in helping them build their confidence too. When speaking with Maggie and telling her about my plans for this programme, she said it would be a crime not to speak to Chloe Woolley. Chloe is the island's Manx Music Development Officer, and she runs various workshops across the island's schools, as well as working to encourage and raise awareness of Manx music and culture across the island and further afield. Similarly with Maggie Richardson, I reached out to Chloe, who invited me along to a Bree music session she runs on a Saturday at Culture Vannin in St John's.
Well, this is the Bree Manx Youth Group, and we meet once a month, usually here at Culture Vannin in St John's, and we meet at 2 o'clock to play Manx music and sing Manx songs.
And how long has this been going on for?
Well, the Bree movement, it's been going, I think it's 13 years now. We started off with a weekend in Douglas with a weekend of workshops about Manx music, dance and singing. And then it developed into a monthly session after that. And over the years, we've got some of the well-known musicians like Tom Collister and Isla Collister. They came to Bree when they were youngsters. And we've got this continuous flow of young people from schools all over the Isle of Man, from year 6 and above, get together. And it's very informal. We play and learn Manx music.
And what's the age range of students that you get here?
Well, we encouraged youngsters from the age of 10 to come along with their instruments. And for the older students, if they wish to audition, we've got a band called Scran. And that tends to be sort of age 15 upwards. And they do a lot of performances, but they also recorded their own CD last year, which went down really well. So that they came second in the next big thing. But before that, it's very informal. If you have to play an instrument already, but we help you from a very early stage as well. And we play as a band, as Bree. We go out busking, sometimes raise money for the charities, and we go in the Manx Folk Awards. So today we're going to look at what we're going to be performing in the Manx Folk Awards just before Easter.
And how do you sort of encourage kids to come along and play? Is it a difficult challenge, or are kids quite enthusiastic to come there?
Well, sometimes it's by chance, and they'll see us performing at something and go, oh, I wouldn't mind bringing my violin along to that. But it's open to anyone around the Isle of Man. It's free to join, and you just need to get hold of me through manxmusic.com or through Culture Vannin. And anyone's welcome, as long as they are ready to learn lots of Manx tunes and songs.
My name's Luca, and I come to Bree, and we do like singing, and we sometimes play instruments. Last time I came, I learnt how to play a penny whistle, which was really fun and interesting. And we play loads of cultural songs, which is fun because not many places do that on the island. So learning songs and new songs and old songs is really fun.
And do you have any teachers sort of outside that teaching you to sing, or do you come along and just practice here?
I come and just practice here. I don't really sing much outside of school or in school, to be honest. I come here and sing.
Okay, so it's a nice environment here to...
Yeah, I don't feel like judged, I don't think, no. It's fine.
Anybody can come, it's open to anybody, no matter how different the instruments are. And we all play and learn new tunes each time. Like before, I didn't know how to play Smuggler's Lullaby, but when I came here, just in one lesson, I learned how to do it, and yeah.
Okay, so what is it you play, just for the record?
The violin and the mandolin, and this is not really an instrument, but you can just play it along to.
So which is your favourite?
Violin or mandolin, I don't know.
How long have you been playing for?
The mandolin for around a year and a half or something, and then the violin I've started in the past few months, but the violin has the same fingering as the mandolin, so it's quite easy to catch on as well.
Okay, so and how have you been learning? Is this all through practice at home and that sort of thing?
Yes, Paul Rogers has been teaching me the mandolin, and he gives me 15-minute lessons of the violin as well. So yeah, it's good.
And you're talking about the Max Folk Awards. Have you been involved in those before?
Yes, I have. Only once though.
And how was that?
It was very good because, it's just nice to perform, I think. And, yeah.
It's been great to spend time with these different groups and people, and it's been a great honour really to refute the claims that the youth of today no longer take a proactive part in culture and entertainment. And to be completely honest, I barely feel like I've scratched the surface. Soundcheck, for instance, which a couple of interviewees mentioned, is a fantastic project ran at the Youth Arts Centre in Douglas, and it offers young people the chance to form bands and play any form of music they want. They just plug in and play in a relaxed environment where they can really explore their creativities. Perhaps another time I'll get to pop along to Soundcheck, some gigs or some concerts and explore this area even more. For now though, thank you for joining me. I've been Lewis Foster and this was my look at Island Life.